Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Journalist shares when Arsenal staff think William Saliba will return from injury. Speaking on the National World YouTube channel, Chris Wheatley has been discussing William Saliba after he picked up an injury in the Europa League last week. The Frenchman picked up what appeared to be a back issue against Sporting, and he missed the weekend's game against Crystal Palace due to this issue. Saliba has also pulled out of the France squad, and there are growing concerns around how long the defender will be out of action for. Fortunately, Whitley says that there is an expectancy that Saliba will be back for one of Arsenal's most important games of the season against Manchester City next month. Whitley shared what he knows about Saliba. He said, Erling Haaland is the man in form at the moment, and William Saliba is the man you want on the pitch to handle him. There is a long way before that game. April 26th is when Arsenal travel to City to play that massive game at the Etihad. There is an expectancy that Saliba will be ready for that game. It's a month away from being played, so there is plenty of time for Saliba to recover from his injury. This is a huge boost to Arsenal's title chances. The Gunners need to be at their best if they are going to beat Manchester City next month, and Saliba will play a huge part in that. Make no mistake about it, the Gunners' defense is largely built around Saliba and his brilliance, and if he is out of action, their chances of winning against City take a huge blow. Fortunately, it sounds as though the defender will be ready to go by the time that match comes around. Micah Richards claims that Bukayo Saka reminds him of Robert Pires. Micah Richards has made a comparison between Arsenal Invincible Robert Pires and the club's current talisman Bukayo Saka. The pundit was doing a rundown of the top 10 French Premier League players of all time for the Match of the Day Top 10s show. Richards put Pires in 7th place, as well as placing Gunners legends Thierry Henry and Patrick Vieira in 1st and 2nd place respectively. But in paying tribute to Pires, he said he reminded him of Saka, who is currently away on international duty with England. The conversation with host Gary Lineker went as follows. Linger. Robert Pires, Richard said, now we are cooking. He reminds me of Saka. Lineker said, really? Richards replied, the way he, on the other side, the way you think he's not going to beat you and then he just drops the shoulder and then bends it into that far corner. As Richard says, the wingers played on opposite sides, but he is perhaps making a comparison between their dribbling styles. Pires had a good eye for goal for a winger, and so does Saka, who scored twice against Crystal Palace on Sunday afternoon. Pires was part of that last Arsenal team to win the Premier League title in 2004, and Saka would immortalize himself in Gunners' folklore this season if he helps lead the team to end that drought after almost 20 years. Kevin Campbell amazed by Zinchenko's impact at Arsenal. Kevin Campbell has heaped praise on Oleksandr Zinchenko and suggested that so many of the Arsenal squad have improved because they play alongside him. The Gunners have made so many smart signings in the last couple of years, but the £32 million deal to sign Oleksandr Zinchenko has been one of the real game changers for Mikel Arteta's side. Certainly, Kevin Campbell has told the Hyper Squad podcast that Arsenal have an incredibly unique player in the ranks in the Ukrainian international. Zinchenko arrived after struggling to hold down a regular spot in the Manchester City side. He had previously shown his talent, but he had been unable to take that next step. Arsenal have provided him that platform. He has had such a significant impact on the side, even when he has not actually been out on the pitch. And reflecting on his move to the Emirates, Campbell suggested that Zinchenko really has been a transformative signing for the Premier League leaders. He said, let me just say this. I have never in my time in football seen a left back pop up on the right hand side and play balls through the right winger to go through and score like Zinchenko did against Everton. He just goes where he can impact the game, and Mikel Arteta trusts him. You can see that the team trusts him to get the job done. We have seen Xhaka improve when he is there. We have seen Martinelli improve when he is there. We have seen Jesus have a good game when he is there. We have seen Partey dovetail perfectly with him in that center of midfield. What a player. Manchester City must be rowing the decision to let him go. Clearly, he is an amazing footballer, but he seems to have driven standards up, and that mentality has led to Arsenal threatening to knock the citizens off the summit of the English game. Certainly, few signings in the current Arsenal squad have probably proved to be better value for money, and that is really saying something. The club have got so little wrong in the market in the last 2 seasons. Both Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko could win the Premier League for a third year running this season. No accolade would arguably be more fitting given what the pair have given to Arsenal on and off the pitch since arriving in the summer. David Seaman says Aaron Ramsdale is ready to play for England now. David Seaman has now suggested that Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale is ready to play for England. Speaking on his Seaman Says podcast, the Gunners legend was discussing England's upcoming qualifiers. After what was ultimately a disappointing World Cup campaign, Gareth Southgate will want his side to immediately bounce back this week. They face Italy and Ukraine in their first 2 qualifiers for next year's European Championships in Germany. The Three Lions will once again be one of the favourites, with plenty of young stars in the squad who are only getting better. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Marcus Rashford and Jude Bellingham still have plenty of years ahead of them. Southgate has selected a number of players in his most recent squad who aren't in brilliant form at club level. Calvin Phillips and Harry Maguire are very much there based on previous international appearances rather than current performances. One man who looks likely to retain his place in the team is Jordan Pickford, who has spent all season bailing Everton out as they struggle at the foot of the table. However, Seaman has now suggested that Aaron Ramsdale is ready to start for England. Unfortunately, he is not sure he is going to get his opportunity. Asked whether he thinks the £30 million shot stopper is ready to play for England, Seaman said, "Is he ready? I feel he is ready, but he won't because he will go with Pickford, because Pickford's number one, there is no doubt about that. In big games like this, he will go with his strongest team. He may be interested in the Ukraine game, but I still feel that Jordan will play. It's just Aaron's got to be ready if he gets called upon. He is played brilliantly, there is no doubt about that. There is no doubt in my mind that Jordan's still the number one. He is getting closer. They are putting pressure on Jordan. There is no doubt about that. It would be very harsh for Southgate to drop Jordan Pickford going into the next round of qualifiers. He is barely put a foot wrong for England, but will be under serious pressure for Ramsdale and Nick Pope when fit. Seaman is a man who knows what it's like to be England's first choice, and his comments should give Ramsdale confidence. Folarin Balogun shares what his relationship with Mikel Arteta is like. Young forward Folarin Balogun has now opened up on what his relationship with Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta is like. In an interview with Sky Sports, the on-loan England under-21 international addressed a number of topics. Many Arsenal fans will be well aware of Folarin Balogun's exploits in France this season. He has become one of the stars of the show for Stade Reims and helped them rise up the table under Will Steele. The 21-year-old already has 17 goals in 27 appearances this season, which is an exceptional record. He is only 2 goals away from the top of the scoring charts in France and has outscored Lionel Messi. Mikel Arteta has admitted he is very aware of how well Balogun is doing away from Arsenal this season. Balogun admitted last week he was frustrated he didn't get as many opportunities as he would like in the Gunners' first team. Arsenal may have a big decision to make when he returns from France in the summer. Asked about the comments Arteta had made about him recently, "It's really positive that he can say these things. I am sure we will speak at the end of the season and we'll have a lot of things to discuss. It's nice that he is watching and paying attention to what's going on. Yeah, it's good. It's hard to see right now where Balogun would fit into the current Arsenal setup. Gabriel Jesus is Arteta's first choice to play up front, but he also has plenty of alternative options. Edin Ketia proved to be an able deputy for much of his time when Gabriel Jesus was unavailable due to injury. Arsenal also turned to the transfer market to reinforce their options, and Leandro Trossard has been sensational since arriving from Brighton. Mikel Arteta will know the dilemma he has to deal with when it comes to Balogun's Arsenal future. Plenty of Arsenal fans won't want to see an academy graduate who is performing so well right now fail to reach his full potential at the Emirates. Martin Zubimandi asked if there was any truth in Arsenal links. Martin Zubimandi has responded to being asked whether there was any truth in the speculation linking him with a move to Arsenal in the January transfer window. Of course, the Gunners strengthened in the middle of the park right at the end of the month, with Jorginho arriving from Chelsea, but he was far from being the only name in the frame, and one of those who was linked with a move to the Emirates was Martin Zubimandi. Reports from Cadena Ser claimed that Arsenal were willing to trigger the £53 million release clause to sign Zubimandi. However, it was suggested that the midfielder had decided that he did not want to leave Real Sociedad. Zubimandi is extremely highly rated. As Sport notes, he is admired by Xavi, so it would have been a coup for Arsenal to secure his signature at the start of the year. But how close did a move actually come? Well, Zubimandi was asked whether there was any truth in the rumors linking him with Arsenal in January. He said, rumors, because I told my representative that I didn't want to hear anything, especially in winter. Leaving Real Sociedad aside with the season we are doing would be illogical. I am very happy here. Zubimandi's response obviously clears up that he did not want to move, but perhaps it does not entirely show how far Arsenal were willing to go to get him, as he clearly did not want to know about anything on that front. Arsenal did manage to address their midfield issues in January, but the signing of Jorginho probably does mean that the Gunners will have to go back into the market in the next couple of windows. The Italian has done superbly so far, but Arsenal are surely going to be back in the Champions League next year, so signing someone like Zubimandi could prove to be a very smart piece of business if he is willing to leave his phone on in the summer. Journalist says Ruben Navas will cost Arsenal half as much as Declan Rice. Arsenal could sign Wolves star Ruben Navas this summer for half the price that they will have to pay to bring Declan Rice to the Emirates Stadium. That's according to journalist Benny Jacobs, who claimed that the Portugal international will be a wanted man this summer, and like Rice, he is expected to leave his club. It's no secret at this point that Rice is Arsenal's top transfer target this summer. The Gunners have an excellent squad already, but if there is one area of the pitch they should look to strengthen, it's probably their midfield. Rice would obviously be incredible, but West Ham are sure to demand a fortune to let him go, even though he will enter the final year of his contract this summer. Jacobs thinks Navas could come an option for top clubs because he will cost about half as much as what West Ham want for Rice before the start of next season. The journalist wrote "Fork out offside" on Substack. Wolves showed last summer they were able to hang on to Ruben Neves despite interest from Arsenal, but this summer things will be different. A bit like West Ham with Declan Rice, Wolves are pretty resigned to losing Neves. They know with his contract expiring in 2024, selling at the end of the season is the only way to command a healthy fee. A lot of attention will be on Rice, with Arsenal and Chelsea pushing, but Neves will be highly sought after as well and is available cheaper than West Ham talisman, perhaps even around half his price. That's the silver lining for Wolves. They may lose the Portuguese midfielder, but be able to drive up the price a little due to a high volume of suitors. Let's not forget last summer, Neves was being valued at over £75 million. His price has dropped due to the contract winding down, but Wolves would still ideally want closer to £50 million than £40 million. Neves entering the final year of his contract this summer will definitely make him a wanted man. We are sure a number of top clubs in England and abroad will consider signing him. Arsenal may well, be one of those clubs, but Rice is still the priority and he is the better option for the Gunners. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.